a moment too late. Let's have a look. Are we live? We're live. We're live. Let's see why I can't see what I can't see. Oh, it's all very exciting. Oh, there we are. That's bigger. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's MJ here, and we're in MJ's house. Good morning, James. Good morning, Alexia. We're everywhere, guys. We are, not only are we in Cardiff, we're in Cardiff, and I'm MJ, and you can see I am here in my new flat. For those of you on social media elsewhere, I'm in Clubhouse. Julian, I'm trying to bring you up. I'm bringing up the boss. Let's see. No. I can't bring everybody up. It's crazy. Oh, there we are. Yay! I'm managing to get Alexia. There we are. We are home. I'm glad you're a moderator. Come on, James. Here we go. Good morning, my love.
Good morning.
Ah, here he is. Oh, he's gone again. No, here he is. He's gone. He's here. Oh, he's gone. He's here. He's gone. It's like a jack in a box, Arju. Arju's like a jack in a box. Anyway, good morning, everybody. We will wait for people to join us. Please do share the space. It's Monday morning, and people usually get here by about, 5 past. I have to say that I thought we were just going to be on 5 past this afternoon. I was in my morning meeting right until just before. I've left them to it. I had to make somebody the host. And then I realised I hadn't set up StreamYard. So it's been one of those mornings, but it's very windy in Wales. The rain has been battering, the wind has been blowing, and I've been awake during the night. So my night has been a little bit windy and a little bit discombobulated, but I've got my oil. I don't know what they call it. You put oil in water. Don't know what they call it. Anyway, one of them going, and I've had my coffee. I had my first coffee of the day. Mine's a reishi coffee. I don't know what you guys drink, but I drink reishi coffee. Without it, I'm not sure I would be doing what I'm doing now. Yeah, have you got yours?
I got mine. It's in my flask.
The thing is, I've got King this morning, but I know that I've got boxes of blue over at a friend's house because I didn't have room to keep them, and he's looking after them for me, and I know they're over at his house, so I want to go over and collect them because I really do feel like I need a royal coffee today. So
royal ranges. Last time I ordered some, I didn't order any.
Oh, royal! I'm telling you, royal is the way forward.
My favourite is the King at the moment.
That's what I'm drinking. I do think it's the smoothest taste of all of them, but royal just gives me the zing. It just gives me the zing. Yeah. So anyway,
it goes a long way with me because I don't need a whole sachet at a time. I'm quite happy with half the sachet, so it goes a long way.
You see, it is strong.
It says, it's
expensive. It isn't.
It isn't.
Not really. Well, to be honest, I'd rather have 2 of those in a morning than 5 of anybody else's. The other thing is I sleep with it. It doesn't give me the jitters.
No, it doesn't.
No, it really doesn't.
It doesn't. You don't, because I make it in a flask, I'm just sipping it.
So do I. So do I. I just sip it all day. And every time I feel just a little bit sleepy or a little bit like I can't concentrate, quick sip, and I'm not having you on, I do believe it wakes my brain up. And I don't think it's just the caffeine. Anyway, we digress. That's only because coffee is so important to me. Good morning. Good morning, Reflection. How are you? It's great to see you. So I'm MJ is what I was going to say. I'm MJ, and this morning I wanted to talk to you about how we become the tipping point. Now that sounds just a bit odd, I would imagine, to you. I hope you can still hear me. I'm sure you can. There we go. Because, and I'm telling you now that I have had this in my mind. I was thinking about the fact that I talk about be the change that, well, I don't, Pete does, be the change you want to see. So Pete Cohen, who we'll see at 7 o'clock, if you're coming over to LinkedIn with me, because that's where I'm going to my coach at 7. Because all coaches have a coach, right? I'm MJ, I'm a coach. Actually, I'm a teacher, I'm a SENDCO, special educational needs and disability coordinator. Come in. That's my carer. Always comes at a good time. 5 minutes late. Here we are again. So she's live on social media again because she's 5 minutes late. You see, everybody knows what time she arrives at work because it's always 5 past when you're already live on air. Morning, Maureen.
So timing, Maureen. Get the kettle on. I need a coffee.
Yeah, James says get a kettle on. So I was thinking about well, I was thinking about all sorts. Pete has a friend who does the Tipping Point on TV. You might have seen that program. I don't know whether you have, but on the Tipping Point, the coins come down, and then they, like those penny pushers in the arcade, they just keep coming down and coming down and coming down and pushing on the shelf until boop, they reach the tipping point and the coins fall over, and they're seeking the golden coin, I think it is, but a special one they get to tip it out into the.
It is the golden
There
one.
you go. So his friend Ben, who I really like, I like Ben. I think it's Ben who runs it. Anyway, somebody we knows runs it, and I was thinking about the concept of the tipping point, because I was thinking, well, a tipping point is a bit like a global pandemic. And I've been saying for ages and ages, if you've listened to me ever, that I believe that inclusion is the only global pandemic to be part of, which brought me to the idea of the tipping point, because I read about it across sociology the other day, which just made me a bit confused. And I also read about it with a student a couple of years ago in environmental science. And then I've heard it's a TV program. So I thought, well, what is the tipping point, and where did it come from? It also is like the boiling point, isn't it? Like the boiling point of the kettle that Maureen's about to put on. But it's that critical mass where you've done and done and done and done until everything reaches that boiling point. But it's also its other meaning, which is what I mean when I think about being the tipping point or making the tipping point happen as a result of yourself, is it's a series of small changes or incidents that become significant enough to make a larger or more significant change. So we know, actually, when we go and have a look at it, that it is rooted in sociology. That's where it came from. And it's the moment where a neighbourhood can undertake or undergo a massive demographic shift, maybe in racial composition. And it can be traced back to the 50s and 60s, when researchers were examining the dynamics of cities in America. But eventually there was a book, Malcolm Gladwell, in a book in 2000, said how little things can make a big difference. The moment of critical mass, the threshold, the boiling point, the point that leads to wide-scale social change. How little actions accumulate to create a massive shift. This is where I want to talk about the tipping point from. It's used to discuss all sorts of critical thresholds, and I'm sure Alexia's going to talk about those. It's also when disease, like COVID, which affects us all in some way, becomes an epidemic. And why, actually, if we're going to think about epidemics, we need early intervention. But if we want an epidemic, then we need a slow, dripped approach until more and more and more people are infected. It's a lens through which we can view our changes in the world, the tipping point, where when we get a collective fascination or a collective drive or a collective process, when we join together, that is where the power is. That is where it is. I believe that we, as a global movement, individuals with disabilities, just like individuals that were of a different race or those of different orientation or any difference at all, actually, when women went, hang on a minute, did you know that there are more men in C-suite businesses at the top, in executive C-suite businesses called John, than there are women? There are more executives called John, of all the names, just John. I know it's the most common name, but John, than there are women. So I'm just going to put that out there when I'm talking about a tipping point of a global pandemic of disabled people. We also need to remember the women who still haven't caught up. In fact, it will be 2050 before I meet the equality gender pay gap. So I'll be dead then. I don't think I'm going to make the gender pay equality gap in my lifetime, because it's only 2024 and I'm not young. I might be working still then. But anyway, that's when I'm going to meet the same pay as my counterparts, 2050, because I'm a woman, no other reason, which I think is fantastic. But when we think about this movement, inclusion, of course, inclusion is not just about disabled people. It's about diversity, about equality, about accessibility, about all of us, and in all areas of life, because inclusion is about access to education and about employment and about social activities. I'm going to church with Maureen next Sunday. But to create critical mass, the epidemiology, there's a big word for you, where a certain level of exposure or susceptibility in the population can lead to a widespread epidemic, the global movement for inclusion reaches a tipping point when a critical mass of individuals, organisations and government recognise the importance to commit to inclusive practices. See, inclusion isn't one person at a time. It's also one process at a time, one heart shift at a time. This collective recognition and action that accelerates the adoption of those inclusive policies and practices, that changes mindsets across society. It's small actions for big impact. In epidemiology, simple measures like hand washing and vaccinations and wearing masks can have a massively significant effect on disease spread. Similarly, in the movement for inclusion, small actions by individuals and organisations, each of us making that change, like making our buildings accessible if we have a business, or implementing inclusive education practices like making sure that things are in an alternative format if you're delivering them to the public, or promoting diverse hiring by actually knowing what access to work is, and if you're going to take somebody on that's disabled, because nobody will employ us because they can't be bothered to find out how. So come to Accessibility Partners and we'll help you, because we want you to have an inclusive workforce. We want society to reflect society, because until it does, nobody can be happy. These steps, these incremental changes, one process, by one policy, by one person, by one promise, by one promotion, by one practice, can aggregate to create a more inclusive society. Look, just as herd immunity can prevent the spread of an infectious disease, the widespread adoption of inclusive practices, in my opinion, can create a herd effect in societal norms that can sustain and promote inclusion. When enough parts of society adopt inclusive practices and it becomes the norm, then it's easy to reinforce, because we're building on good practice. So if you need to know what good practice is, come and see us. Monday nights, 8 till 9, we are giving away, gold. Monday nights, 8 till 9, we're giving away webinars where you just pay as you feel fit. Just pay what you think it was worth. Before, during or after, and all proceeds go to inclusion. We meet together at 7 anyway on a Monday night, and then from 8 o'clock we will be in a webinar which will be shared with everybody. And look out for those webinars, because only with the link can you get to see us, and you will get to donate. If you don't want to pay anything, you don't have to. I'd rather people voted with their feet and felt that they paid where value was given. And each week there will be a different subject, be it personal independence payment, or how do we access a blue badge, or what is a disabled facilities grant, or how do you access attendance allowance, or a million other inclusive practices, policies, protocols and preferences. We know that epidemiologists monitor disease spread and they adjust their strategies accordingly. Everybody wear masks, nobody go out. This is what we did. Not that the government did that much about that, did they? They were wondering about, weren't they, Boris? Not that we're going to talk about that. Let's just not talk about Boris, shall we? It's not a plan, I don't think, right now. Similarly, though, The movement for inclusion requires continuous monitoring of societal attitudes, policies and practices. And that's what I'm doing. It's what I've been doing. It's what I'm doing now for a living. I'm part of the government. I am part of the government. I have a government email address, and I am looking and examining and unpacking and connecting our attitudes, our policies, our practices, and making adjustments to that to make sure we have progress towards greater inclusion. I'm actually working around 3 or 4 different parts of the organisation to try and bring together one communicating document that we can all use for referral in the local authority. So back to my point, which is the tipping point, how to become the tipping point. I need to be the tipping point, right? Am I the tipping point? How do I get there? These are the questions I had for myself. I believe the tipping point for inclusion, which is my raison d'etre, is reached when enough people understand and embrace diversity. When that leads to those systematic changes in societal structures and norms, when, just like actually, when the public health interventions can halt an epidemic spread, what we just had, I'm still here, right? Our concerted efforts, in my humble, can transform our attitudes and structures, leading to equity and diversity in this world. I think this illustrates the power of collective action and the importance of us working together, and the reason for me to be screaming into the void every Monday morning, every Monday night in Inclusion on Clubhouse, 8 o'clock now on webinars, giving away my secrets, the secrets. The thing is, giving away these secrets is just the fact that all of this information is out in the public domain. It's just you need to know where to get it. And then what happens when you start accessing it? It's the process, right? It's a handheld process. It's being handheld. Signposting's all right. But unfortunately, when you get there, it's still just as scary, right? You need hand-holding along the way. I think when you think about things like Lord of the Rings, there always was somebody to help along the way when we're on the hero's journey, right? We're not meant to do it on our own. Maybe some of it needs to be trudged through, but there needs to be people along the way to help. That's what Accessibility Partners does. That's what inclusion's about. Hey up, Maureen's here. Morning. Yay! I had breakfast. How amazing is that? So, I'm a bit thrown there. I didn't even need to have my breakfast, but there we are. I believe that this helps targeted efforts, and that's what I'm making in this application process with the local authority. But also in Accessibility Partners, we are addressing systematic barriers at critical junctures. Transition, movements, what the government want for people like me to move into education and work and training. That can significantly impact society. Because as more people are in the workplace, just like me at the moment in my local authority, one of my managers said it's an eye-opener to have somebody in a wheelchair as a staff member. That creates a nuanced understanding of the barriers to inclusion and the leverage points where interventions can have the greatest impact. I want to spread this disease because my behaviour can then affect other people's behaviour, and it helps people like my manager understand the subtleties and nuances of having a door that's accessible by somebody with their attendant and having a door that I can access independently as a staff member. A subtle difference, but very important. All the staff are upstairs with no lift, but I'm downstairs with the secretary. All the social workers and managers are upstairs. Just by being there, just by spreading inclusive attitudes, I can create a ripple effect that promotes inclusivity far beyond the initial point of my intervention, far beyond the door at the daycare centre. By building alliances and fostering communities of practice around inclusion, I can, we can, you can amplify your effects. Spread those inclusive values, share them. Inclusion is a foregone conclusion. It's an epidemic, the only one that I want to be part of. It's a global epidemic that you can begin, and it begins here. They say in social work that we use the head, the heart, and the hands of social work. The head to think it, the heart to feel it, and the hands to do it. We can spread inclusive values and practices through our social, professional, personal, and digital networks. We need to cross that threshold. We need to get to that tipping point where policy adoption and community engagement has more than just a signal towards inclusion, but actually we need representation in the media, in government, in corporate leadership. Do you know there's only 5 MPs, that's 0.78% of MPs in the UK, who state that they have a disability? I can count on my hand the amount of MPs with a disability. These can serve as indicators that inclusivity is not yet embedded in societal norms. But when these thresholds are identified, we can guide our strategic efforts and our resource allocation to push past the tipping point towards that systematic change. Epidemiology relies on adaptive strategies, where our responses evolve based on the changing nature of the disease transmission. We learned through COVID what it did, and the effectiveness of our interventions. Does it work when we don't cough on each other? What about washing hands? The inclusion movement can adopt a similar approach. We are doing, continually assessing which strategies are the most effective in promoting inclusion and adjusting our tactics in response to society changes and feedback from our communities. I get hundreds and hundreds of people messaging me every week about the things that we do online, the things that we do together, the movements that are happening, the entrepreneur club, the things that go out on social media. By responding and reacting, not reacting rather, to those suggestions and discourse, I have an adaptive approach and you can adopt yours. It ensures that our efforts remain relevant and impactful as we watch society's attitudes and structures evolve. It's not the end goal when we reach the tipping point, right? It isn't. We need to sustain our momentum beyond the tipping point. And that goes for all of us in our personal endeavours as well. It's aggregated practice, isn't it? Sustaining momentum is crucial. In public health, it might mean maintaining vaccination, right, to prevent the disease resurgence. We've seen it in COVID again and again, haven't we? We've seen it in mumps and measles and rubella. In inclusion, it means we have to create structures and cultures that continually nurture and reinforce inclusive practices. That's going to be policy changes, right? That institutionalize equity. Ongoing education and training programs like the ones I'm going to be providing on a Monday night at 8 o'clock. Pay with your feet. Arrive and don't pay anything if you don't want to. All of this information is in the public domain. It's just that I've put it together for disabled people and for those that are seeking a greater chance to include everybody. These are the mechanisms for assessing and addressing inclusivity gaps. And you'll be receiving them at 8 o'clock on a Monday night if you'd like to. They'll be on replay and there will be a program by which you can join and have all the replays all the time. And believe me, they are worth sharing. Any good message is worth sharing, right? By applying lessons from epidemiology, say that on a Monday morning if you can, to the inclusion movement, we can better understand how to catalyze, that's the word. Yeah, I can't say it today. And sustain that change beyond the tipping point. The tipping point concept, I think, offers a powerful framework to think about how to build momentum towards inclusion. And then once we achieve that, because remember, inclusion is a foregone conclusion, these gains are protected and built upon. And that way, we're going to lead to a truly, truly inclusive society. Listen, I'm here for inclusion. And I reckon you should be as well. If you are, you're with me. If you're not, I'd like you to come and see me. I want to say thank you because, to be honest, I didn't look up. I didn't look up because I was busy sharing exactly how I feel. And I think it's important that we share how we feel because it's empowering. I am literally vibrating with the energy of expressing myself. So I think the question this morning is, are you here for inclusion? On both counts, because, we're here now. We're here tonight. We're in MJ's house. But are you here for inclusion? Because I think that it's the only global pandemic that we want to be part of. You're part of that tipping point, aren't you, Alexia?
Yeah, I definitely am part of that tipping point. I've just put the latest blog out.
Have you?
Yeah.
Just keep plugging away, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you don't keep plugging away, you won't achieve what you want to achieve.
It's right.
Not always the big steps that make the difference.
I don't think it is them. I think it's a combination of the both. But what you teach me, I'll tell you what you teach me. Relentless. What you teach me is relentless. And just by watching you be relentless, I can be more relentless. And I love you.
I love you too. And I love James.
So do I. I've been talking about James just a minute ago in morning meeting.
We all have this drive to lead by example. We're not saying just go out and do this. We actually do it. We don't just use the words. It's what we actually do.
It is. You do every day, and I watch you, and I see you come back from it, and I see you go out to it, and I see you ready from it. I see you in the rain from it. I see you develop things from it. I see what's happened with your scooters. I watch it every day, and it's that I admire.
Well, Daniel turned back up last night because he's now somebody's scooter's gone wrong, and she uses it for getting to work. So he came round to me to see what gadgets we'd still got from the ones that we took apart or replaced bits on. So he went back home to see if they worked or not. If not, if she don't want it, then we'll have it and we'll redo it because we think that we know what's wrong with it now between sitting. When I should have been in bed last night at 8 o'clock or 8:30, sitting having a drink with Daniel, working out what was wrong with this.
You're not going to believe what time I went to bed.
You've not been naughty again, have you?
5:30, mate. I went to bed. Good. I went to bed at tea time. I was exhausted. I got 100% sleep score, and I feel like a queen.
I think that's the hardest lesson I had for nothing, and that's what gave me bad health. Is not looking after my body.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing you've nagged me to do. You see, you've nagged me to do it, and then you don't do it yourself. You're up at 8:30. What time of day?
I am.
Come on.
That wasn't my fault last night. He rang me and said he was coming.
It's always your fault.
Wouldn't eat his vegetables. He was quite strict about certain rules.
I love the way we devolve responsibility at all opportunities. Not my fault. Of course it wasn't. No, everybody else.
So you need to go and have a look at Charlie that's sitting on my scooter because he's going to be the latest mascot for the planet.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Hey, guess what? You know, you got 60 odd. I can't remember what you got, but anyway, you got more than me in your last assignment, but I did pass the last assignment. Thank the Lord.
Well done. Well done. I would be at university if it wasn't for you.
Yeah, but I've got to learn to say what they want and not what I want.
Yeah, oh God, that's the biggest thing. If Marie didn't sort out what I put down on paper, I wouldn't get very good marks because I find I can speak about it, but with dyslexia, it's done in an organised form.
The thing is, I can do it for anybody else, right? I can help anyone else do it. When it comes to mine, you wouldn't believe how opinionated I get. It's wild. It's because I'm attached to it. So I have to detach from everything.
Taken to writing on the top of mine to remind me not to do that.
Yeah, you see. Do you know what I like about Clubhouse? Do you know what I like about Clubhouse? It's like nosying in on somebody else's conversation. Isn't it? It's like listening in to the next table. You're like, hey, up, no. You say, I know what they're doing now. Anyway, we best let the boys talk because Jude got here about 14 times this morning.
I know. He wanted to make a presence.
He was bobbing in and out. I've never seen him move so fast.
could go and be quiet now. I'm finished doing my
I
service.
tell you what, I saw Thomas
Oh, did you?
I saw Thomas on Instagram the other day. Never seen a man bounce. I've never seen anyone bounce so incredibly as Thomas. Thomas is a god, right? I've just got coconut from Thomas. I'm not going to tell anyone what I've got because they're going to have to come on the 29th of March to see what I've got, because I'm not having you on. I've got things that you just want to eat all the time. You can't eat them all the time because it's too many calories, but it's a really, really nice treat. And it's a really good one. And it's not got anything in it that's nasty. Anyway, so I saw Thomas because I'd bought some stuff off him. It's one of my suppliers, right? He supplies me with the stress drops too. Don't tell anyone. I'm bringing a box. And he can bounce like a tigger. I tell you, David needn't think that he's the tigger. I tell you, Thomas is the tigger. Honest,
No.
wait, you've got to go and see him on Instagram. He can bounce like a tigger. Never seen anyone jump so hard. He's wildly strong. So I think he's another fellow strong person. But he also drinks the coffee. But he also has the stress drops. Him and his wife take them, and you've never seen a smile like him. I'm telling you, we all need to be on whatever it is, GABA. We all need to be on it. It's perfectly natural. Ask Dr. Bob. It's perfectly natural.
When I first started all gardening, and I went in the gym.
Yeah.
Because I was in the older persons group, which niggled me a bit, because that was the one to go into.
Over 50 now, and you're old, for anybody in the audience.
Yeah, and none of them would go on the stepper. And I had a job to do it without the coffee, but once I got the coffee,
Well, you're only
within
little.
a month, I was doing the top level on the stepper.
You're only a dot.
I can't do it now.
Well, our Jew started swimming loads more when he started drinking coffee. He can't swim at the moment because nobody will let him.
Can you find me a pool, please, that I can get to in Wisbech, because there isn't one.
Absolutely.
I miss my swimming.
Yeah, well, Jew misses swimming as well. I think when we do, begin the commune. I mean, the gated community. Told you it was a global pandemic. When we do get together eventually, I just think we have to have a swimming pool. I've got one in Lady Isle House. I can't be without it. I'm sorry.
I miss it.
Well, I can't run up the road, can I?
No, I can't. What annoys me is when you get older, your body gets a bit flabby anyway. But I can see my leg muscles are not what they were because I can't, because of that.
We haven't got a hip or a knee, proper one.
No.
Well then,
no.
It's like saying I should have kidneys that work the same. They don't, love. They're not going to.
No.
You haven't even got a proper hip. It's not even, it is a real one, but it's not the same as everybody else's, is it?
Yeah, but it doesn't fit like a.
No, that's what I mean. No, well, they are. But don't worry, because you're Knuff. Do you remember that from Barbie? You're Knuff. That's what Ken said. That. You are Knuff. I'm Ken, enough, Knuff. But whatever you've got, whatever you haven't got, I say you make amazing use of what you've got, and you're an example to everybody, particularly to us older people. And there's a few of us here. I'm just saying. Oh, I like Ariel. I like your new picture. Hey, good evening, good morning. I'm just going to say hello to Ariel. Sorry, boys, but we've got somebody that's not been here forever. How are you since everything and what's going on? And your nice photo.
Oh, well, thank you.
I didn't see you. Sorry. Hey, honey.
We say this prayer, and for 11 months after someone passes, and I have 2 days left.
Oh, wow. You see, I was here at the beginning.
It's a 13-month year.
Oh. Your voice.
Extra month before Passover. But so the year anniversary will be in 2 months.
Yeah, right.
But I have 2 days left to say the cottage prayer, which is just unbelievable.
I can't believe it's that quick.
Back in New Jersey.
Are you?
I am because, well, a lot of reasons. One is that I couldn't stay living with my brother anymore. But secondly, my daughter got engaged. One of my daughters, one of my daughters got engaged right before Thanksgiving, which is in November. And I had a really good job that looked like a great opportunity. The downside is it took like 7 weeks to get approved.
Goodness.
And during that time, I couldn't commit to lease. I couldn't commit. Like I still haven't gone to get like my mom's car, like a suitcase. It's just the logistics have been tough.
It's okay.
And you'll love this because you were talking about the food before.
Yeah.
It's being a kosher supervisor for a national outdoor smoking barbecue company.
Really?
So most days I'm outside with like blowtorches.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm the guy. It's very interesting. Like they don't trust the way it's set up. And I did this a bit last year for another place.
You were doing some kitchen stuff. I remember you being in the kitchen with people. I remember those 3 days or something. You were doing something.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're the owner. With that organization, the owner could be there 49% of the time. Okay, for that to consult. At this organization, it's out of Baltimore called the Star K. The owner of the company doesn't even have keys to his own facility or fridge or ovens or anything.
Hey.
And so, like, if I'm there at 9:05, that means that his people, his, the workers, everybody is just sitting around waiting.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't have a car, because I haven't taken the time off to go down and get it.
It's not so okay then, is it? Well, it'll have to be okay, but you could do with a car, couldn't you?
It's been a lot of navigating, and I've been staying mostly in Airbnbs, which has been really rough too. But listen, those aren't the things I'm focused on at all. It's much better to have the challenges and the stepping stones to figure out and be lying in bed wondering how to get out of the maze, right?
I've got it.
But the reason I came up is, and I see, the crowd of others. My God, MJ, look at you. I mean, I remember the days of, Pete, I'm never going to host a room. I can't be on stage. And I'm sure those replays exist somewhere. And, and here I just sort of snuck in after my night owls, which I have kept up with consistently through this whole time. It's not to say I don't take my week under the covers also, but I actually... you've been in that also periodically, like once in a while, but the average age of that room is probably, I don't know, late 60s female.
Yep.
Anyways, my new psychologist now for maybe 6 to 9 months has been Dr. Rita, who runs an addiction facility in Philly. She's 96 years old.
Yes.
And she took me on.
Yes.
It was originally that Lara asked her to speak to me, and I kept pushing it off because
third age.
You're going to talk to me for an hour, and that's
third age.
And it's like talking about me.
Why aren't we just engaging with everyone in the third age? They know everything. They know everything. They know everything.
She really is.
Everyone knows everything. My 78-year-old educational psychologist knows everything. He's the greatest family systemic therapist I've ever encountered.
Yeah.
I swear down.
Yeah.
It is literally, why are we not just adoring? I mean, I know they want to retire, but I don't think they should.
She'll set her appointment with me. Okay, so next week we'll meet at around 11:15, 12 o'clock at night. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Like when do
you
sleep?
Yeah, good move. I like her. I think she should come on board. I like her already. I like her age. I like her timekeeping. I like her attitude. I like her already. She's one of me.
I sometimes have to set an alarm to wake myself up.
Good. So you should have to. That's what you should have to do for your coach, in my opinion. You should be to a commitment. You should be accountable. It should be competitive for yourself, I think. I have to compete with myself.
Show, then she starts setting alarm bells off.
I like it. Think of her name and go, boom, I'm here. Yeah, absolutely. You have to learn to do that to yourself. That's what I've had to learn to do. I've had to learn to say, when I say it, I jump, right? Because I'm here.
Well, I'm lucky also. I have where I'm living now is very
You're looking amazing.
3 adult daughters. One of my adult daughters, the one who's getting married, is in university about an hour south.
Oh, wow.
But the other 3 live within 2 seconds of, where I work. And so, whereas in Florida, I had no, safety net in a sense, except for my, crazy brother.
It's important to have it's important to have, the important 5 people around you, right?
For you.
Good. Yeah. Good. It's really important. My son has just come back. His girlfriend came over from Canada, and she's amazing. I know. And now he's going back there in May. He's got people there, but he's got people here. So wherever he is, they've got family over there, over in Hamilton, and then over here he's got family here.
It's nuts. Is I think of my 4 daughters, maybe all 4 will be married by Labor Day. In fact, my one that I hesitated from saying,
See your third age.
just got
going into
back
your
from
third
a
age.
month in Israel, was in the U.S. for a week,
Wow.
and is back in Israel now, and he brought her over, and she does diamonds. All the other daughters are nurses. She does diamonds this one, and guess what? She says, "Oh, I'm going for a show." He has a show. Well, I looked it up. He's a fucking rock star.
Wonderful.
It's a rock star show.
Good.
Like he has like 500,000 followers.
Good.
He's got 5 million hits on his music from 3 years ago. Like he's
I hope
an
he's
Israeli rock
nice.
star.
I hope he's nice as well.
Well,
That would be
on
incredible.
the coffee table in her living room is literally a bucket of roses. I'm going to take a picture of it.
I'm so
It's a
proud of
bucket,
you and her.
a
It's because
bucket. Yeah,
all the
Sam,
love. It's all the love. You
whatever
know
it
that,
is,
don't
girl.
you? It's all the love in the
What's that?
family. It's all the love in the family. That's what makes the alchemy. It's the love, the amount of
But you know
buckets of
what?
love you can pour.
When you, yes, accept that I've been long concerned that my errors or, my experiences in my, 2 marriages have fucked up my kids. I mean, we're all worried about fucking up our kids. And the fact is that in my community,
Fact
my
is,
older
we all
daughter's
do.
26. My older daughter's 26. She's been going out with this guy for a bunch of years. And they traveled. She just got back from Patagonia. Like not in Maine where they make the sweatshirts, but like the real one south of the equator. She was here for 3 days and then they went to Vail. But we're not talking about marriage. And you're worried, okay, did I taint it? Did I do something that
Do you know what?
I'm scared of it?
Thing is, we do. I think we all. That's the whole point. The sins of the fathers are revisited on the children. That's the saying. That's because, yeah. But the thing is, that only means that what we don't realise. It's why grandparents get on with kids, isn't it? Because the reason they get on with grandkids is because the mess they made, then their kids then do the opposite to what they did, which then fix it for that generation. But whatever they didn't do, they then fix it. It's just a cycle. We are definitely going to fuck each other up. Pardon my French, but we're definitely going to. It is, of course. And we can hold no credence to either, can we? We can hold no.
I have a blog, a self-blog.
Yeah,
where
talking over you. ADHD RS.
About friends. Most of my friends at this point, because of my second ex-wife who gaslit the world against me, are friends that I've had for 47 years since nursery school. Not kidding. And I walked into this woman's house. She actually why I live in this community when I moved from Boston. And she's like, "Oh, what shenanigans did you get in this week?" And I started a blogger blog right then, personal, private, and like in my will it says like on the 3rd generation, it can be released to my descendants, kind of thing. And
it's so good to hear you. It's so good to hear you, and you sound so solid.
I'm not, but it's okay.
Well, you sound it.
I'm asking. I've been let's use YouTube as an example, okay? My YouTube garbage is for my own personal enjoyment and to embarrass my children. I'm very straightforward about that.
I love it.
My subscriber count goes up when I don't post. I swear, I'm not even making it up. Anyways,
I'd like that to happen to me.
Last night I was in the middle of
today.
A video. 24 hours ago, I was in the middle of putting, and one of our rules on my channel is we don't edit by definition. So we had this series on suburban hunting and cut off our heads. We just let it go. It's for us. It's for me. So yesterday, because now I'm working with food, I brought home the most beautiful looking steak you've ever seen in your life. Okay, and a lot of the videos are instructional cooking for quote unquote gifted children, like how to make toast. So I'm making this steak, and of course, our average, the royal hour, the runtime just gets too long because it was Saturday night that I did this, and there's a Jewish custom to have a 4th meal after the Sabbath ends, and it's supposed to be a festive meal. And so I added another clip, which I need to add on to the beginning of why that is. And it also turns out that yesterday is what we call Purim Katan, meaning the small Purim. Purim is the holiday that is a month from yesterday. It's the story of Esther and Haman and whatnot. And because of how our leap year works, we add a month now. So it's an extra month between now and Purim. And so yesterday was actually a pretty significant day. You don't often have it doesn't often fall out on the Sabbath and whatnot. And so it's an extra special thing to like be festive. And actually, a video I had written when I'm on the Pete, I don't know if you ever even saw it, but I saw him soon after Hannah's passing on one of his clips, and he really was showing that, his happiness. And it was right around when in the beginning of the fall, and I had just seen a piece by the rabbi in Hollywood, Florida, talking about, well, people are depressed out of their minds. How can you force happiness? Because in the holidays, the only commandment is to be happy. You have to be happy for the holidays. and so what this rabbi wrote, really interesting, but it applies to anyone from the Abrahamic faith, is that after the Jews went through the Red Sea, what happened? Miriam got up and they started singing and dancing.
Too right. You should be happy when it's raining. You need to dance in the rain. That's the only point of learning, isn't it?
Were they dancing because they were free?
Oh.
Were they dancing because the Egyptians got killed?
Because you can.
Like, what was the reason?
Probably because you can. What about because you can?
That's right. And so, you look at it, exactly. And so, it comes down to this idea of choice versus free will.
Yeah.
Which is a loop, right? There's no answer.
No.
Anyways, it really is.
I love your 90-something-year-old health person. Coach.
Applies to it all.
Therapist. What is she? She's your learned other.
Oh my gosh, she's something.
I think it's fantastic. Thank you,
Dr.
Ariel.
Rita.
Listen, we've got about 13 minutes because we're with Pete over on LinkedIn at 7:00. So I'm going to go to the boys and say thank you for being here. It is amazing to hear you. I can't believe we're like a year. It feels like 2 minutes. I'll tell you, this time thing, once you go into quantum, you just like, time is irrelevant. Makes no difference. Feels like you were here yesterday and you're here again. And there's been no change, except you're just more fantabulous. Jew, I've kept you going. James, I've kept you both waiting. How are you, Jew? Wow, that was quick.
Does Jew want to go first?
He does, he unmiked. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh,
Jew, morning, that was quick. Morning, nearly again. I did ring you, write to you, talk to you.
I've seen him cold, and I'm sorry I missed it.
It's all right. Are you okay?
Didn't wake up until
Good.
10:06.
How do you call that, mate? Yeah, I agree. I think it's great that you had a lie-in. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. I was in morning meeting. I had to talk to you. Sorry, darling.
Certainly feel better for it.
Yeah, I needed a good sleep. I just slept from 5:30 last night. I went to bed. I told you I was in bed feeling poorly. I slept like a log. I tell you, I feel like a queen. I'm glad you slept. We've all had a good sleep. That's good for the week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good start.
It is. And we talked about you in morning meeting, just like we talked about our James. So we've been talking about it. It's very exciting. Can't believe access to work are here. It's like Father Christmas arriving. I'm going to block the chimney and stop him leaving me.
Not sure I like being talked about in morning meeting.
Well, it's hard luck. And James have been talked about us too, so I don't think we got to Alexia. Sorry. James, how are you? Oh, hang on, I haven't talked to you about a tipping point. Jude, do you think we're creating a global inclusion pandemic?
Definitely.
Jude, I thought you were going to say no then. I was like, bated breath. I was like, what if he goes no? Definitely, I like that one. Definitely. I agree with you. It's inevitable. Inclusion's a foregone conclusion. I just think that's fantastic. And I'm here for inclusion. Are you here for inclusion?
Of course I am.
Can you imagine if somebody goes no? Like, what are they going to do? Like, no, what do you mean no?
You will not commend this
I just
shed.
think there isn't an answer, is there? You can't say no because it's a foregone conclusion. It actually is. And when you think about it, it's the only way we're going to be happy. Because until I can roll everywhere, people can't put me to work any longer. I can't turn you into a taxpayer unless I can put you into places, can I? Come on.
It's happening as we speak.
It is.
Oh my God. Do you define your excellence by how many people you turn into taxpayers?
Yeah. No, Ariel, but the point is that the government in the UK
I mean, it's correlated to someone who can work.
have decided, but they've decided that disabled people and women, all the people that are economically inactive, and old people, and the third age people, all those people that aren't economically active should become economically active to save the day. They haven't thought about.
We still need to take them out collecting rubbish.
That's like the Mighty Mouse. You ever hear Mighty Mouse over there? Here we can save the day. Cartoon from the 50s.
So what I'm doing is I work with government through government contracts. Not that they give to me. People vote with their feet and come to us to help them get access to what they can get in order that they can work, because that's what the government want, which makes them taxpayers. Now, I think that once people are economically active and they're contributing to society, it doesn't mean that they have a right, but it does mean that their voice is just a little stronger. And I think when we all get together and go, hang on a minute, you made us all taxpayers. Now, please, can you make sure that services help us? It's not a difficult concept. If they say for us to do something and then we go and do it, it's my opinion, then they have to kind of make sure that things like, I don't know, the tube is available. We can put a man on the moon, but we can't put me on the tube in England yet. I don't think that's all right when they want me to be a taxpayer.
Accessible to disabled.
See? So all I'm saying is that I think once we get enough people as active taxpayers, then the government have to say, oh, now we need to respond to the 1 in 5 that can't get on the tube to get to work, for example. There we are. So, but yes, I think that, helping people become taxpayers helps us pay for our country, which helps us have a right. I think that's what democracy is about us all being engaged in the same process and us all having a say. I know it's not really like that, but that's what it is in my head. So there we are, James, there we are. You're on mic. Good morning. We're at 5:02. We need to run away in about 3 minutes, James. How are you? We talked about you this morning.
Right, yeah. I nearly had a tipping point on Saturday evening when we won at the rugby. I knew if I didn't get a move on after the game, I'd miss the last bus.
Oh my God.
I got the last bus, but the last bus stops at a stop that's 3.5 miles from where I live.
That's a long way to walk with a broken neck.
Yeah, but it's the only exercise really I could do is my walking and various hand movements. And I don't want to do too much. I don't want to be doing everything with the right hand, but I can only use the right hand for heavy weightlifting.
Yeah.
So I've got it's a fine balance, but I have got my physio exercises, so I know what I have to do. So I kind of look a little bit strange every now and again. Thankfully, the arm, I can only raise it to about 55, 65 degrees. So
amazing.
It does. The hand rise movement isn't where it should be on the left hand side at the moment. The full range of motions, but each week it's getting them incremental gains each week. I didn't really get the incremental gains though Saturday because I only got to sleep about 5 a.m. and then because my body rhythm is what it is, it decided that it couldn't do any further past about 8 o'clock. Because once I'd finished walking, about 1:10 when I finally got home, thankfully it was lovely and cold, so in the rugby shirt that I was in coming home. That kept out. And I'm really liking the cold at the moment. The cold and the cold showers. And then if I get to a certain point, I'll put I found out that if you put a hot mug of really good coffee on your shoulder that's painful.
Yeah.
Once you get it cold, you can keep. Oh yeah, heat treatment is superb, and the bonus is I drink the best coffee ever.
You do?
I don't know if you knew this.
I think you're a bit of a king, to be honest.
My coffee is incredible, and
we had a coffee morning.
I just got a nice order in that I processed just today, so I'm feeling the benefit of an extra box of King in the post very shortly, and that will do me the world of good at the moment because I'm mainly on King and Royal, and I'm feeling all the time the growth and the energy levels, and as I say, Saturday, it was more the cold than anything that really helped me with the coffee. Yes.
I've got 3 minutes. I've got to go, Doug.
Yeah. Well,
all right, I'm going to say goodbye. Is that okay?
Thank you.
That's all right.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry to rush you. So you've been in MJ's house, but we know that. We're in Inclusion at 7 o'clock. We are going to be beginning our webinars at 8 o'clock as well. So if you want to come to that, come in at 7 o'clock and we'll give you all the details. So in Inclusion at 7 o'clock, if you want to, we are of course in LinkedIn on Saturday in Belonging in Business, which is of course what we all want to do, which is belong. There's never been anything as sure as eggs is eggs. I've been MJ. We've been talking about becoming the tipping point. I think that's what we are in every step, in every way, in every day that we move forward in this way. We are literally just winning one heart at a time. Remember to use your head. Remember to connect it to your heart and then use your hands to get on and do what you wish you want to be today. Come over to us in LinkedIn and listen to Pete Cohen talking about Mindset Monday because it's always good over there. See you over there. Have a good day. Bye, everyone. Bye.